Mr. Kraisak, as a leading human rights activist in Thailand, you have constantly claimed that former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity with regard to his war on drugs policy. But why do so few Thais appear to agree with you?
I do believe that for the past 30 years, Thailand has gone through the different stages of governance, from guided democracy into full democracy, into corrupt democracy, from an elected government into tyranny, from an elected government. And every time the government falls, it's usually over scandals of corruption. Billions have been lost, etc. And coup d'etats have been launched. But one area that Thailand has never been through is that a period of true reform in human rights, true reform in a justice system, true reform in which impunity states are questioned and its officers or those who abuse human rights are brought into the system of justice. That has never been done, and we know that thousands of people have lost their lives. Ironically, there are two periods contrasting each other when human rights violations were most abused in Thailand, and that is in the 70s. That was when we find the government, an elected government, and its bureaucracy, anti-government militias openly abused its power in the middle of the cities in the 70s. To the extent that when the coup came in 76, people escaped into the forest and began joined the government, joined the Communist Party for armed insurrection. Another period, ironically, I say ironically, is when we have, for the first time in history of elections in Thailand, a majority of a party led by Mr. Thaksin in year 2000. By 2002, 2003, we found that abuses have increased to an epic proportion, to a sense that it was unacceptable. By year 2004, we have thousands of people dead, all the abuses perpetuated by officers, through the policies of the government. In the South, if we count the dead, it's now in about the number about 6,000 dead so far. Thousands wounded more. However, systematic killing happened in year 2003 when Mr. Thaksin declared what we called a populist policy of war against drug. It was amazingly quite popular in a way when Mr. Thaksin embarked on this war against drug. And there was no hiding of the fact that war against drug meant killing of drug dealers. By the third month of this campaign, in which the announcements were on a daily basis on how many were killed during this campaign, we found that nearly 2,800 people were killed. This was publicly announced. This was announced with all the care and with popular aim. And people were quite happy, in fact, until they discovered a few months later on that most of the people that were killed were not drug dealers. Drug dealers are people with political power. Drug dealers were arrested and sometimes released inadvertently or purposefully by the police. Drug dealers were not in Thailand even. Most of the drug producers and dealers in a large scale were in neighboring countries, particularly in Burma, in the state of Shan State, the southern part of Shan State. That's where the drugs came from. But the reason for the drugs killing was that Thailand is proliferated with drugs. I mean, you found drugs in elementary schools, in secondary schools, in the gas stations, you name it. It was all over the place, and they were catching about 2 million pills of methamphetamine a year. And this became a big problem, and Mr. Thaksin wanted to befriend the Burmese government, in which way they were in alliance with the WA who were producing illegal drugs. So he didn't want to create much problems with them. He needed them for partnership to do business, telecommunication business with them. So he turned against the Thai people to solve this very problem, which was demanded by the Thai people, and particularly the King of Thailand has expressed concern over this. Mr. Thaksin was very quick to please these demands, but it ended up tragically as a massacre against what we call innocent people. Innocent people, how? It was later investigated in year 2006. Between 2006 and 2007, a commission was set up to look into this issue, and they found that 1,870 people that were extrajudicially killed by the police has nothing to do with drugs. They were people that had gained money with business. There were people who had won, some of them have won national lottery. Some of them are businessmen who have assets over and above other villages. They were all picked up and killed. And of course, why were they killed? Because the central government, the police commander-in-chief and Mr. Thaksin demanded that every single provinces have to have a drug suppression record, and that drug will have to be wiped out in 3 months, and he wants them to be wiped out in 3 months. So this quick fix, they led to a massacre. The massacre, of course, was rewarded. All the policemen were rewarded because according to Thai law against drug dealers, is that when you kill them, you confiscate his cars, all his assets, his land, his house, etc., and you divide it 50% to the police and 50% to the anti-money laundering commission. So this was a harvest for them, but a tragic turkey shoot. And I do believe that if this were allowed to continue, the police will keep on using its power in extrajudiciary means for other purposes. And they have been. It is of a well-known fact in Thailand that you can get arrested anytime by the police. If you don't have money, you will suffer. If you are not guilty, you will be tortured. Almost an automatic, exceptional thing that happens. They will torture you until you confess. In most cases, in the police stations anywhere around the country. So this practice has to stop. And I think we have to follow every cases. But the biggest cases, like the war on drugs, it's probably the biggest, what we call now, a crime against humanity. By experts, they think this is probably the biggest case of mass murder in modern day Thailand in 20th century. And if this was not dealt with, I think in the future we could have mass murders and people will suffer. And I think it's time. Thailand should come of age when human rights matter, and should matter over and above other issues, in my opinion.
Thank you very much.